Swim check 1, 2. Bike check 1, 2. Run check 1, 2. I think we're ready. Let's try this. Welcome to the Try Beginner's Luck podcast, a podcast where we explore the sport of triathlon from a variety of perspectives to help beginner triathletes on their journey. I am your host, Mashonda Shines. Welcome back to another edition of Try Beginner's Luck. It's been about 3 months since I said those words, and I am absolutely glad to be back. I am really glad to be back and refreshed and rejuvenated. Every now and again, you have to take some time off so that you can restore and reflect. But most importantly, some of the things that we like to do in the tri space is rest and recovery. So this time off, and actually this year in general, has been about resting and recovering. And that's really the secret sauce to our sport. Like you can just go, train. But if you don't take the moments to rest and recover, you will very quickly come to burnout. I don't want to burn out because I feel like I have longevity in this sport and with this podcast. And so taking some time to do absolutely nothing. I was minimal on social media with Try Beginner's Luck. I was minimal with my personal life on social media. It was just about, for me, training and restoring so that I could come back and be stronger than ever. And not just the podcast sense, but also training, because I am still training. But it felt good. I also want to say I received an award. Oh my gosh, can you see her back here? Let's pull her out. Yes. So I received the Doug Clark Multi-Sport Lifestyle Award this year at the USAT Foundation's honor event. So excited about that. Because me, a back of the packer getting an award, unreal. So I'm excited about that. And I have to thank you. So somebody out there nominated me and the voting committee, thank you. I also was the recipient of a new bike. Mind-blowing. My car breaks down and I get a new bike. God is still in the blessing business, okay? So listen, I am so grateful for that. And just want to say shout out to being the recipient of a community award that was sponsored by Christy Fenner in the DC area. So I'm really grateful that I now have some new wheels that I can ride. And it's speedy. Oh, yeah. So I am really excited about my new lift bike. But we're back at season 4. And so season 4B, and bringing in that rest and recovery. This next guest hit us with a bomb about a week ago. And I was kind of shocked because I was like, no way. But again, God works it all out, right? Because we're talking about rest and recovering, and it's time to change seasons and change transition. So this is just T3 for this next guest. I'm going to give you a little bit of details about who they may be. See, I'm keeping it very ominous. So this person is from Hempstead, Maryland, attended University of Syracuse, and ran track. But in track, she was a steeplechaser. And that's how she was kind of discovered, because they're like, she might be a really good fit for this sport. She's been competing in World Triathlon events since 2013, and she's an Olympian. In 2021, she was a part of the mixed relay team that won silver in Tokyo, which was Tokyo 2020, but 2020 had its awesome challenges. Just days after winning the bronze individual. You probably know who I'm talking about. Yes, she's a multi-decorated triathlete. She's a mom, she's a wife, and she's a friend to all of us. And I am so excited to welcome to the Try Beginners podcast to help us kick off this additional portion of our season, none other than Miss Katie Zaferes. Katie, welcome to the Try Beginners Luck podcast. How are you?
I am great. Thank you so much for having me. That dang mute button gets me all the time.
It gets me too, I tell you, the unmute button. You would think by now Zoom would say, when you see me talking, you will unmute. Like now when you raise your hand, it has the whole raise hand feature to automatically raise this. But we're working on that. We just got a few more coding things to do in the back screen that I'm sure their developers are working on that. So you just actually finished racing this weekend. How was that?
Yeah, it's good. I just got back from Toulouse, France. I did the last, or not the last super try, but I did my last super try of the season, and it was really good. I did still get eliminated in the race, which I was a little sad about because I made it. I only had one lap of the run left, which for your listeners, try beginner's luck. Super try is swim, bike, run, swim, bike, run, swim, bike, run. It's 3 rounds, but without breaks. So you're going straight from running back into swimming. And so I almost made it to the finish, but you get eliminated if you get 90 seconds behind the leaders. And I just missed it.
Wow. Super try is an evolving sport, I think, for us in the States. And if you're not really in the tri space, it's probably harder to know, but they are coming over to the States in a bigger presence because they have a couple of races. I think now they picked up Boston, they have Chicago, and I think Long Beach coming up. So I think Super Tri is here to stay and kind of adds its own very unique twist to the sport, which allows people a different type of challenge. And maybe that's what we talk about. What is that challenge like, and how is it different from anything that you've done the traditional triathlon?
I think the main thing when I think of super tri that's different than what we do traditionally with draft legal racing is just because there's always 3 rounds, and only this year they stayed consistent with the exact format. So swim, bike, run, swim, bike, run, swim, bike, run without any breaks means throughout that race your weaknesses are really being exposed, because normally in draft legal racing, like, you swim, you can get on the bike, you can, and whether you're a strong rider or maybe a weaker rider, if you're in the pack, you might be able to hide a little bit. And then when it comes to the run, obviously, like, you have to, there's not as much of an advantage as being in a group as when you're on a bike with it. But because of how super tri is, like, you can have that really good run, but then you're going to go back into the water to have to swim, and then it just gets broken apart a lot more as you go through the races. So I think super tri is just like so fast. They're on really short circuits. It's exciting the whole time. The like dynamic of the race is changing, whether it's from people from the back moving to the front or people from the front moving to the back, and mistakes are pretty like unforgiving in this format. So yeah, I love it. It's super exciting, and it's just as an athlete in like shaping development and skills and wanting to be the best, like putting myself into this type of format really like made me a better triathlete overall.
I love that. Making you a better triathlete, probably causing you to change your mindset about the ways you approach and the strategies in which you approach it. But which do you prefer? Do you prefer the traditional draft legal or even traditional non-draft legal as opposed to the super tri 3 swim bike run repeat method?
I mean, a big reason I love triathlon in general is the versatility,
Mm-hmm.
like just between having 3 different disciplines. So for me, World Triathlon, Super Tri, the different formats that World Triathlon has, the different formats Super Tri has had, like, I love all of it because I like that you never have to, like, nothing ever feels stale. I would say my favorite is like, if I'm thinking like time that I enjoy racing, like the amount of time on the course, I like the shorter version. So basically super tri format overall time would line up pretty well with a sprint triathlon. It's a little bit shorter, but
Mm-hmm.
and so I definitely like that distance. And I mean, I love the mixed relay distance, which is even shorter. So I think that's what I would say I prefer. I prefer super tri and world triathlon, but on both ends, I like the shorter side of it better than
Mm.
like the Olympic distance.
Interesting. So let's actually just go back. Let's take a trip down memory lane. This is about your first triathlon. So take us back to their very first triathlon, if you can. Tell us about the feeling. What was it like? Give us all the great details.
So my first triathlon I did right after I graduated from high school, and it was because of my dad, because at the time I just thought he wanted to do it, and it was a race on Father's Day, so you can't say no to your dad when he's asking you to do a triathlon with him on Father's Day. But also, I'm one of three girls, and so I don't really know how I became the one who was volunteered for this, but I did, and it was just such a good experience to do it with him. I mean, at that time, I wasn't a triathlete. I didn't really know anything about triathlon, but I swam and I ran. And so like leading into the race, it's just a local race that was in the county over from ours and at South Carroll. And like my dad took me to the course. We like rode the course before the race, and um I definitely competed as like single, more the single discipline athlete, in the sense that I was like wearing my bathing suit for this. It was in the pool too. So I wore my bathing suit in the pool. Then like for transition, I just like pulled on some soccer shorts, pulled my t-shirt over my head, like put on my running shoes, tied them tight. Like no, uh, there are no like triathlete nuances for me at that point. And um yeah, it was just a really good experience. I enjoyed doing it with my dad. I like enjoyed the new challenge for myself, and just like there was no pressure. It was just something new I was figuring out and trying to do, and it was just something to do with my dad.
I love that. But one thing that stands out to me is the bathing suit, and then you putting on some soccer shorts on top, and then putting on the t-shirt. Looking back at that, what would your body say to you if you would have tried to do that in flash forward 2024 world?
Oh, like, well, I can't like the way transitions are now. I mean, I had a really slow first transition and a really fast second transition, I guess. But it's funny to think of doing that now, because like literally I just wear, well, pretty much I still wear a bathing suit just the whole time though. Just the whole time. But I definitely wouldn't have felt comfortable doing that then.
Because the bathing suits that you wear, which I have lots of questions about, has a different padding than the bathing suit that you wore when you first started, right?
Oh no, we don't have any padding in our current ones.
Stop.
Yeah, the difference is that, I mean, in even some of the athletes, you can choose to wear like what we call bathers, or like a tri-suit type. So like the bathers are literally like cut like a bathing suit, or you can wear the one with like the like half legs or shorts. And so I choose to wear the shorts ones. But no, there's no padding.
My
You
mind
get
is
used
blown
to
right
it.
now. I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm having a moment. So you mean to tell me all of the ladies who are wearing the quote unquote bathers are riding with nothing to protect their AV system?
At least for Team USA, because some of them have like the thinnest of like thin pads, but like I would call it basically nothing. But ours don't have anything.
This changes my whole perception of those who wear the bathers because you guys are some badasses, and I am honored to speak and know you all because I don't think I could do it. Like I think about riding my bike with no padding and I'm like, that's miserable.
Must be the most impressive thing I'm gonna say today. Is this.
But seriously, like, you get the one and you get that uncomfortable. It's like, so what do you how do you train your AV system to withstand that pressure?
I mean, I think in a race, if you're worried about that, you're probably not. I mean, and granted, like our races, the longest our races is 2 hours, and that's an hour on like an hour maximum ish on the bike. So like it's not like we're doing iron like half distance or long distance. And like those professional athletes are definitely wearing, I think, more than what we do. But uh and we train in the same, like we're trained not in the same as we race. We train in the same as anybody else with like cycling shorts and bib shorts. So I think when it comes to racing, you don't really think about it. And then the adrenaline of the race, like I've never really thought about it to be honest. Like I'm just going.
Well, what I hear you saying, you know how in meetings they say, well, what I hear you saying is it's all mental.
You'll
Get
be
it out of your
fine.
mind. You'll be fine. Just if you feel discomfort, it's okay. It's in your mind. Just keep going until you get to the finish line. It's okay.
Yeah.
Whoa. Mine has been blown. And that's why I love this and love asking questions because I'm always learning something new. And I guess because I'm a very curious person, I want to know the little details. And I've been wanting to know about that. We have this segment called Ask a Coach on YouTube. And I was wondering, does it have padding? And someone was like, yeah. And now we know, no.
Not bad.
So, well, do you at least use chamois cream in that special place?
I don't. I'm sure some people do. I really hasn't been, I really haven't thought very much about this.
And that's why I am on this side of the microphone asking the questions because listen,
Try it and then let me know if it's as bad as you think.
absolutely not. Like I now use two different types of chamois cream because I'm like, I need comfort, but I need comfort. But anyway, wow, this is really taking me back. And actually, I don't even know. We're talking about your first race, and then we transitioned into previous. So going back to that Father's Day special time, finishing with your dad, did that become an activity that you all did annually in order to just stay healthy? Like, did your dad just continue to do triathlons as a part of his extracurricular adult activities?
Yeah, like my so that race in particular, like the Father's Day race became one that I think I don't know if I only did it twice with him, but then my brother-in-law did it with him, my older sister, my mom, like so it became a family thing because relatively shortly after that, I started doing when I became a professional, I wasn't actually home usually in the summers
Mm-hmm.
to do that race with him. But no, for he so I found out later that I think one of the main reasons he wanted to do that triathlon was because he thought I might be good at triathlon. Because for him to say yes to doing the triathlon, that meant he had to learn how to swim. And my dad wasn't a confident swimmer prior to this. And then he started watching like YouTube's learning to swim. I would go to the pool and try to help him out. And I think just like, I mean, especially because so my dad actually passed away right before the Tokyo Olympics.
Yeah.
And but for us, like even though triathlon came into both of our lives, like especially his, like later, because his first triathlon was the same as my first triathlon at that race. Like, but he kept doing them and I did multiple other ones with him. And just like, I don't know, I think some of my favorite memories are having my family be a part of it. And especially like since now I don't have new memories to make with my dad. Like those are some of my most special ones revolving around triathlon from before I was a professional to after being a professional. So um yeah, I just that was the first. So that'll always hold a really meaningful moment in my life.
Yeah. I am sorry for the loss of your father, and I remember that,
Mm.
and just thought how I had also experienced loss around the same time you lost your father, and was like, she's out there competing, and I'm in here just a vegetable. And I thought that the discipline that it took and the love and thinking, hearing your story about your dad and how you got started, I'm sure that memory allowed you to push forward and to carry forward, but not the vision. Your dad was a visionary and seeing that I think she would be good. So let me go try so that she can fly. I just wanted to rhyme, but so that you could try as well. Um, And I just think that that's incredible that this that's always a core memory and a core value and a part of who you are is that he learned something that he didn't know how to do. And now you took it to another level and extreme. You got to pass the legacy and torch.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when I think of like how uncomfortable he was during his first race, probably like, I mean, we were in a pool and my dad was tall, so he could stand up if he was struggling swimming. But at the same time, he was like he was doing freestyle. And then we're like, well, try backstroke. And then he tried, and it was like a terrible, terrible, terrible like thing to like recommend to him. And we're like, no, no, turn back over. But I mean, yeah, for me, it was something new, but like not necessarily like the discomfort was relatively minimal. Like I didn't know how to necessarily ride a bike in like racing terms, but I grew up riding a bike. But for him, like learning how to swim can be really, really scary and really uncomfortable. And um, it was very neat to watch my dad put himself out there. And like I said, at the time, I don't think I even realized it was like probably with like me. I mean, I'm sure it's something he wanted to do, but with like thinking more about my future and like wanting to be like, well, can like can I get her to try this just to see if she likes it? Because it was never like a pressure thing. Like it wasn't like we're gonna do this, you're gonna be good at it. Like it was just like we're gonna do this together and see if you like it.
And so, how many years after your first triathlon did you become, did you realize that, oh, I'm good at this and then become pro?
It took a little bit because I still didn't make another step towards like professional at that point. And I ended up going to Syracuse University to run. And it was during my time there that I was recruited by USA Triathlon because I was running Division 1, but I had a background in swimming. And so at that point, they reached out to me and was like, hey, do you think this would be something you're interested in? And there's a lot of times in my life where feel like I got very lucky and blessed with just the timing of things, because the only this program kind of existed already because of Gwen Jorgensen, who went through the collegiate recruitment program. But when she started, it was really minimal. Like she was given a coach and kind of like that coach guided her, but there was no like resident program, and it was based around wherever she was. And for me, because of her success with from starting in that program, the program then was evolving as I was coming through. So at first it started out the same, where you came to a camp, you were given like a coach, but then a little bit later on, we got invited to go to the US OPC in the training center. And then it kind of took off from there, and it changed a bit to be like I got provided with or my group, not just me, but my group that was recruited alongside me, we were all given more opportunities, and it was a bit beefier, I guess, of a program.
There's always someone who paves the way. And I absolutely love Gwen Jorgensen. She's been on the podcast twice. And just love everything that she stood for and the things that she's had to go through in order to, prevail as a great triathlete herself. And so shout out to you, Gwen, for paving the way. And I say shout out to you all for continuing to have the program elevated, because now the people who are coming behind have really incredible high performance coaches and, a really good program that they can feed into. So that's a really cool feature that USA Triathlon is doing to really build the sports pipeline into more of an elite pipeline. That's what I want to say.
Yeah. No, it's really exciting.
Yeah. So you get recruited and you're like, did you have to think about what was next? Like, what was going through your mind to say, sure, I'll give this a try? Because this is foreign to you, even though it's not foreign. It's just like, is there really a pathway? Because I'm sure back in the early 2000s, it's still evolving. It's still maturing, so to speak. So what made you say, yeah, I'm gonna give this a try and not go the direct career route?
Well, yeah, it was a hard decision because I think I'm not usually like a risk taker. I think I really like being sure of things. And so I'd gone to school for physical education to teach in K through 12. And I was just graduating Syracuse with that when I was given the opportunity to like kind of continue with triathlon and go to the Olympic and Paralympic Training Center. And I was at that point not planning on doing anything different. Like I was planning on becoming a teacher. Well, actually, I was planning on going to grad school, but I was in church with a family who I nannied for at Syracuse, and I don't even remember what the priest was saying, but he was speaking about like something about like taking chances, saying yes to things that make like you fear or make you uncomfortable, or you're like I don't know. This is like my memory of it because that I was like looking at the family or like the mom of the family who I was with, and I was like, like they're talking to me, like basically thinking like it resonated so much of just like doing something like saying yes to something scary. And so I think that was one of the main catalysts of like really considering it. And then so I said yes, and my dad and I drove from Maryland to Colorado Springs, which is like a 24-hour drive. And we took stops along the way, and it was during football season, so it was based around when the games were, so that he could watch them. And when we got like pretty close, I told him, "Well, I don't think I want to do this anymore. Like, let's turn around. Like, I think like this is too much for me because as amazing as an opportunity was, it's like a sport I really don't know much about. Like I've done like I don't know, like a handful of races, maybe like 5 to 10 races. Because once I kind of was like I'd done a few more just local triathlons and like got in my pro card at some of the races. So I'd been doing triathlons, but like not as a professional and not on Olympic level. And there was still a lot of unknowns to me. And it was just like, oh my gosh, like when people would talk about going to the Olympics when they're in my run group, like during my time at Syracuse, they're like, oh, I'm going to become a professional runner. I'll be Olympian. My thought was always like, do you know how many people become Olympians? Do you know how many people make it as professional runners? Like it seemed, and like I was never at the level to even consider being a professional runner. I never even catered to that idea in my head. Like it was always just like go be a teacher. And like I was really happy with that. My mom was a teacher. It's a huge reason I wanted to be one. So my dad kind of listened to me, and I attribute so much to my parents and my upbringing because the way they guide me without like pushing is something I hope a lot of other kids have the same experience as I do with their families. Because my dad was just like, okay, how about this? Like you give it a week, I drop you off, I'll like fly home. If you still don't like it, I'll fly back out and we just drive home. Like no, there was no risk to trying because if I didn't like it, then we do something different, and that was okay. But I had to give it a shot first. And so obviously, or maybe not obviously, but I never called him back to to come out and drive me back home. I stayed there, and yeah, my career really took off from making that decision. And for me, it was just really comforting to do that in a way that was so supported by yeah, my dad, but like I mean both my parents are that way.
Yeah, I think the guiding versus pushing is a good lesson for parents because sometimes parents can. I had a group of coaches on earlier, And they were like, sometimes you have the robo parent where they're the helicopter parent where they're just hovering over their child, instructing them. But I think that's really good advice, is just to guide versus push them. But one thing I think that stood out that I don't want to forsake, because I think this is also an opportunity to encourage someone when they hear a message like that in church or hear a message on television and it speaks to them and resonates with them, that's usually a sign to pay attention and to listen to that intuitive thought. And do you attribute a lot to your faith, and how has your faith guided you in this journey? Because when I heard you speak that, I was like, oh, she had a faith walk. She had a moment to decide, am I going to listen to this internal thing that I hear, I feel like talking to me, or am I just going to be like, no? But you listened and look at the outcome.
Yeah, for sure. I have a lot of faith. Like I would say, I don't go to church as regularly anymore, but my faith is very strong. And like, there's definitely certain moments in my life that I call God moments where I just felt like something stronger than me took over. And like, I'm usually like a relatively indecisive person in that, like, I always see both sides, which I think is a good thing, but I almost get frozen in that sometimes because I'm like, well, I don't know what the better option is because there's all these good options here and there's all these good options here. And like, I'm not always able to make a decision so clearly or quickly and feel confident in it. And some really big moments in my life, from like meeting Tommy, deciding to do triathlon, how I felt leading into the Tokyo Olympics, like, and even our house and where we live, like those were really big moments. And I would say something in each of those moments, there was like this peaceful clarity of knowing they were the right choices. And um yeah, I just feel like, and now especially with my dad having passed away, like it's not so much decisive moments, but like just being attuned to signs that I feel like are from him. So for instance, like in at the Tokyo Olympics, in the individual, there was a rainbow that spanned across like the actually Rainbow Bridge in Tokyo, and it was during our race, and I saw it with when I was racing, and I asked someone else if they saw it. They're like, "How did you like see that during like you're literally racing?" Like, and so I feel like it being there was a sign in itself. And even if I hadn't noticed it in the race, I would have taken it as a sign from my dad. But the fact that I noticed it during the race and can remember thinking like, oh, hey, dad, type thing, like that to me was just like another sign that like he was there. And so, yeah, I definitely think faith plays a big role. But it's funny because I don't know if this is going off on a tangent. I never feel like that's like why I'm racing or competing. Like, I think some people feel like their faith is like a huge motivator for why they're racing. And for me, I've always just felt like I race for myself. Um, so it has like, it just plays a different role for me.
No, I agree. And you are always welcome to go off on any tangent you want to, because I am the go off tangent master. So please, it's all good. Like, this is not a square in the box, like has a method. I don't know what I'm doing still. And I'm just like, let's just roll with it. And I think faith plays a different part for everybody, but it's who you are at your core. And whether you're racing for you or racing for God, because everybody has a different why, right? I think what you can't deny are the signs that you receive. And I think that's what I want to highlight for those who might be confused, who might want more of a direction. Pay attention to the signs and allow your faith to guide you. For me, it happens to be I follow, you know, I'm a Christ follower, so I follow those paths. For you, it could be something different, but follow that intuition, because your intuitive thoughts and those God moments, I loved when you said that because I have them all the time. Those are sometimes those pivotal points in which can change the trajectory of whatever you're doing. And so when you are in tune with yourself and just in tune with the surroundings, you'll always get confirmation. And I think for you in that church that day, it was the confirming of what you already knew that you needed to do, but just needed that. So pay attention to those signs and follow your faith. Like it won't lead you astray.
Yeah.
I love how you said the big moments, like that's how you met Tommy. Let's talk about that because he's in sport as well. So how did you all meet?
We met at a race in Tijuvaras, Hungary, and he just seemed very different than any relationship I'd ever had. And I was like, from the get-go, I was like, wow, he's really special. But I'd only met him for a brief amount of time and then was going home from the race. And so like our relationship from there, I was like, well, I hope he, like, I don't know. I didn't know what was going to come of it. And I think I was very lucky that he also felt the same way. And basically from then, like our I guess our relationship was pretty accelerated in the fact that we like dated for a year and then got married like basically like 14 months after we met. So
When you know,
and
you
now
know.
and yeah, I never really thought about that, or like I never really believed in that till I met him. And then because I'd been in a lot longer relationships, and then when I met Tommy, I was like, whoa, like yeah, this is something special. And um yeah, it's just we'll be married for almost, well, 10, it'll be 10 years in January.
Wow.
So
Look at there, 10 years.
yeah.
Tommy, for those of you who may not know Tommy Zaferes, he's a former elite triathlete. He's a superb photographer. He's on the USA Triathlon staff. I don't know which capacity, but he works with USA Triathlon in some capacity. I think maybe with the elites, and um, he apparently writes jokes. And so at some point we'll have to get Tommy on because who doesn't like a good joke and who doesn't like to laugh? So maybe we'll do a try comedy show or something like that. So we'll have to get him on to tell some jokes. I love that that's how you guys kind of met. It was quick, it was different, and again having one of those moments. So congratulations on 10 years in advance. Next up, I feel it's important for us to talk about your first Olympic experience in 2016. What was that like going to the Olympics for the first time after you've trained and have made this decisive decision to do this? What was that like for you?
Well, I don't know. My answer might surprise you because it was amazing to qualify for the Olympics. And then the Olympics itself, I was very tunnel visioned on like my perform. I'd actually won my first World Triathlon Championship Series race, the race before the Olympics. So like the highest level of racing for us, I won one of those for the first time. And then the next race was going to be the Olympics. So I was going in with like really high expectations because of and feeling like I was a podium contender, but also I was very scared of the course. There was a pretty steep hill, and everybody would talk about like the steepness of the hill, but honestly the thing I was more fearful of was the downhill on the other side of the hill. And I got so caught up in that. I got so caught up in just like Katie, like just focus on the race, like that. I felt like when the Olympics was over and I finished 18th and I was really disappointed, I was just like, and we were the second to last day of the Olympics. So like all leading into the Olympics, I was focused on racing and doing a good job there and the expectations. And then once the race was over, basically the Olympics was over, and I was sad because my race didn't go as well as I'd hoped or thought I was capable of. And I was kind of, and then we got to go to closing ceremonies, and that was incredible, especially because it's like the passing of the torch from the Rio Olympics to Tokyo Olympics, and just being with all the athletes. Like we got a picture with Simone Biles, and like it's just a really, really amazing atmosphere to have gotten to be a part of. And just having that experience was like my most Olympic experience of the Olympics. And but like I think actually most of my feelings, and even like seeing my family after, like I was just so disappointed that I didn't really like celebrate it. Like I didn't feel like I left the Olympics and I was just kind of sad and disappointed and felt like, well, shoot, I just missed the Olympics. Like I didn't take it in. Like it was just like over now. But it was a really defining moment in my career because basically from that point on, it shift I made so many changes of all the sorts, like mental, physical, emotional. Um, and I attribute a lot of it to the success I had after the Olympics because it was a catalyst for being better and being a better athlete, but also enjoying it more and making sure that I didn't do all this without any good memories or experiences, and making sure that like if I have the opportunity to go to another Olympics, no matter how I perform, I'm going to take this in. I'm going to have a good um, experience there. So I think at the time, Rio was for me not like the most happy memory. However, when I look back on it, I'm like so thankful for it because it really helped me change up change a lot for the better.
I'm glad you say that because I think sometimes people aren't as reflective and appreciative of the not so perfect races.
Mm.
And what I took from this is one, be present and be in the moment and enjoy the experience for what it is. Two, it's okay. And you're going to have bad races. But what you do with it afterwards is going to be that defining marker. And what you said was you changed up so many things, which allowed that propel for you. Because then in 2020, in parentheses one, you were on the podium.
Yeah,
Very different. And by that time, you were a mom.
not yet.
Not yet. No, no, no. Mom came later. But
Almost.
yeah, almost, or maybe kind of cooking, but not
No,
knowing.
no, not cooking.
But yeah. Um, so I love that. So if you're just getting started, just know that even elite athletes have not so good races, but your mindset and how you turn it around is a pivotal point. Let's pivot to baby, your mom. How has being a mom and juggling sport been for you at a high level?
Really hard. It's the hardest. Yeah, it's been the hardest 2 years probably ever. But it's also been like the most rewarding and very special because so for me, I had known that I wanted to get through Tokyo. I wanted to go through the Tokyo quad, which ended up being quad plus. And my plan was always after that, Tommy and I would like to start to try to have a family. And you obviously like don't know what that timeline will be, but we were very fortunate. And I never really planned on coming back to racing a lot because the way that I carried myself as a professional leading into Tokyo, it's really self-focused. And I'm also the type of athlete who like recovery is important to me, and just kind of like not isolate myself when it comes to racing and training, but like I'm not doing much outside of racing and training. I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing anything. That was basically what my life revolved around. And so I was worried about how I could be a mom and also be an athlete at the highest level in a way that I liked. And ultimately, though, I wasn't tired of triathlon or competing or racing after Tokyo. And I also didn't know what it would be like and didn't know if that what I had the thoughts in my head, if that was actually how it would be. And so I was like, okay, well, Katie, you can just come back and see if you like it, if it's for you, if you can do the balance. And my main goal was to go to Paris, and to qualify for Paris. And so that was kind of like what we tried to do. I really loved bringing Kimball to be a part of it and have him be at the races, get to know the triathlon community that I have like so much love for, get to just be a part of this lifestyle of like training and racing and seeing me go after my goals. And I achieved, it wasn't my highest level of like performances, but I did it how I wanted to do it. And I never second guessed what I was to Kimball, or like the energy that I was able to give to him. Like I am not finishing my career thinking, well, I sacrificed so much as a mom. Like if anything, I would say I might have sacrificed a bit on performance side of things and maybe never figured out the balance to be the mom I want to be and the best, like the athlete that I want to be. But also I think that's a big reason we're here now. And like me having just decided that I'm finished racing competitively at the highest level, which I'm not finished being a triathlete. I'm just finished like trying to balance like competing at the highest level and training as an elite athlete. I think I just feel fulfilled. So I just feel happy to, because of both what I've achieved on the race course, but also just with like our family life. I'm like, well, this seems better now.
I think you just relieved so many people who just heard that, relieved them of their stressed anxiety of she's not going to race anymore, but at that level. So thank you for clarifying, because we were going to get to the retirement, because it definitely, I was like, wait, what? This, anyway, maybe everyone didn't take it the way I took it, but I have a hard time letting go. And so I needed to deal with you leaving sport, but you're not leaving. You're just looking at a different way to do it for you because you like to do things your way, and that's okay.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's like, I don't know. I want to exercise and I want to not feel like bad when I'm doing something, when I want to do something different than be like, for me, and it's different for every athlete, right? But for me, being a professional, I was like so engaged in my training. There's very little outside of it. And like I was always weighing like cost energy benefits. And like I started becoming, I would say, like disengaged with that part after missing out on qualification for Paris. Not because, I mean, I was disappointed in not qualifying, but I also just realized, whoa, that was my last big goal as a professional. And I didn't have, and I didn't want any other goal to over, like, to be the next goal, which is how I spent my whole career. It's like, oh, I achieved this. Now I'm going after this. Now I'm going after this. Now I'm going after that. And that's how you like get better.
Mhm.
But after Paris, I was like, I don't know. Like I didn't have a next thing to drive, and I didn't really want one, which was the more telling part than not necessarily having like the next goal. It was just like, oh, I'm looking at a different side of things. I'm looking at athletes and friends who I know who have stopped competing and are doing something on the other side or doing something different. I'm like, well, that looks more like what I'm ready for. And yeah, I do. Like today I went, it's funny because like normally at the end of the season I'd be like, well, I need like 2 weeks break, like I'm not going to do anything, I'm just going to take, like as you were talking about, like rest and restore and in your intro. And today I went for like a 45-minute run. I found like after 30 minutes of it, or I don't even know how long it was, after a bit of it, like I ran into some of my neighbors who were walking and I was like, oh, are you walking? And I like, so then I walked with them out the way I just came. And then I was like, oh, I got to turn around. I have a podcast I'm being a part of. So I got to run back. But like that's what like the part that I'm like going to love so much is that it's like just doing it all in a different way, like where I don't know, it's just a bit more freeing for me.
I'm here for this. I didn't know that recovery was such a big part of you and that you love and take pride in it. I didn't know when deciding 2 days ago that this season was going to be dedicated to rest and recovery and just methods of that and, making sure that we zone in on that. And I'm glad that you had a really nice run today because today is October 8th, just FYI, because this will air tomorrow. So just know that 2 days after Toulouse, France race of doing Super Try, Katie Zaferes went on a run and they got to walk with her neighbors. Score,
And we
score.
rode Kimball to school. So
Oh, and
didn't
Roll
even
Kimball,
ride the bike. It's a double day even.
double day. So that means you got to ride back home. I love it.
No, we don't because I'll probably pick him up in the car to be honest. If we're gonna be honest here.
Okay. We're here for the honesty. Well, what is next? Like, what can people expect in terms of like, what does triathlon look like for someone who's already competed at the elite level? Like, will you take on different distances and do local races, or what does that look like for you, or you don't know yet?
Well, I have to look at when I could actually do. I think there might be a time frame. You can't go from a professional to racing like age group races. I think you might actually have to like have some time out. I don't know why. I don't necessarily agree with that at this moment, but I'm sure there's a reason. Anyways, but I mean, I'd love to do local tries. I think probably I see myself as well, I actually thought like as soon as I retire, I was like, well, I'm not going to swim in a pool because like swimming is not my favorite part of training.
Mhm.
However, I think I'm gonna go swim tomorrow and just do like 2K and be very, very happy with I think see I'm a social like I right now I'm in it for the social aspect and I just like want to do if someone's going out and doing a run or someone's going to do a swim or I'll probably only ride my bike on the greenway. But I just want to I want to be out there just in a maybe less organized, more choice way. And I'm not sure I'm going to do any like hard efforts. There's not that plan in my head right now, but I'm sure a time will come when I do feel ready for that. And I'm already looking up like turkey trots and the local like 5K, 10K races. So a little bit of everything. And ultimately, like that's kind of what I see myself triathlete wise, but in like I I am still very passionate about what I do and to grow the sport. And so I'd still like to like be involved in that side of things too, where it's not me exercising for P, but Tommy's job is actually he's called the talent ID coordinator for USA Triathlon. That title has changed. So basically his job is exactly how I got into the sport. I was recruited by Barb Lindquist and he basically has Barb Lindquist's job now. And so I feel very passionate about his side of things. And I'm hoping to be involved with the pipeline and just with growing the sport because I've always kind of been an open book, I think, through my social media and struggles and things that work and trying to share a lot. And I'd really like to go into more of a coaching role and kind of still in high performance and just help athletes go from just getting started in like elite triathlon to really climbing up the ranks and achieving more than they can dream possible because that's how I feel like I was like I didn't know enough about the sport to know what I wanted to achieve in it until until I kind of started working my way up.
Well, I absolutely love that. And I'm sure that people will want to see you coaching them. And what I kind of sense is like you want to help those people who may not know it's possible to let them know that here's a plug. Try beginner's luck. It's possible. Like you can try beginner's luck and win, which is something
Yeah.
that we always say. So I am here for it. I'll talk to you all day, Katie. I'm just going to let you know that I could talk to you all day. And I know that I have some other business to tend to because we have to do rapid fire. But just know, I feel like a part two is coming, and maybe after you've had some time off, we can have Tommy with you because he's been on my list. Actually, you've been on my list since we had started this in 2021.
Oh,
And to
thanks.
finally have you in our anniversary, this is our fourth year anniversary month. So October is when we started, a little bit later. I think it was October 21st of 2021 was our first episode, of October 20th. Um, but to be able to have you on the list and finally get a chance to meet you in September and then to make this happen, this has been a dream for me. And so thank you for sharing. And I'm looking forward to what's next in rest and recovery. And I see we have a mutual recovering agent on our fingers that helps to tell us, what was your score, your sleep score last night? Did you sleep well? What's your resilience score looking like these days?
Don't I'm really bad at looking at it.
Okay.
I look at the sleep and it just tells me like, oh, good job. And I'm like, great. Like, but I don't know, I don't look at like the actual details of it.
Okay.
And I never look at I maybe now I will, but like I typically don't pay much attention to the like restorative scores or anything like that because usually with our training we can't, it doesn't really matter.
It
Like
doesn't matter. It's like train. It doesn't matter if you're
you're
tired.
still
Train.
doing it anyways. Um, but I have really enjoyed, the main reason I like using it is to like track my sleep. But mainly
Same.
I just look at hours and I had a good amount of hours last night.
Good. Come through with that rest and recovery. So, with that said, rest and recovery is so important. We were just actually talking about the aura ring, but there's a lot of different ways where you can me- where you can measure your sleep. And the secret sauce is in the rest. My coach tells me that all the time. It's the secret sauce. I didn't believe him until this year
Mm-hmm.
when I was forced to rest and saw that I was able to be more resilient and be able to recover better. We're going to go jump in. So thank you so much, Katie, for being here with us. We're going to jump right into rapid fire. What's your favorite recovery tool?
Probably sleep or massage.
Okay, that's good. um, favorite post-workout food?
Burger. Well, maybe
Fa-
not. That's probably not my favorite workout. I guess that was my race answer. That's my race answer.
well, that's
Uh,
fair. Favorite race? We can take race. That
okay.
a burger is good. Okay. Favorite music artist?
Um, the score.
And what's your favorite song?
Yeah, see, I'm not a person for these types of details. I
Oh,
literally just like it's like when you ask me like what book are you reading? I'm like, I don't know
hmm?
what book I'm reading. Like I like it, but I can't tell you the title. Um, oh my gosh, I can't think of it. Any of them though, really? I really like all of
Okay.
them.
Okay. Um, I heard you talk about the Parkway, so I'm going to, or the Greenway. What's your favorite place to bike?
Um, Banyoles, Spain.
Mm, I bet that's beautiful.
It is beautiful and quiet. Country roads.
Yeah. Do you have any race superstitions?
Yeah, it revolves around shaving my legs, actually.
Oh,
I can't shave my legs. Well, I won't shave my legs leading in like a week at least into the race. And then I can't shave them until after the swim course preview or after my final swim before the race
hmm.
because I think it's going to make me feel faster and I want to feel my fastest for the race, not for anything leading into it.
Spoken like a true swimmer who swam when you were younger. Yeah, because that's a swim team type thing, making sure all
It
the hair is
is.
shaved
Oh my
before
God.
the. I love it. I love it. Um, okay. T1, T2, which is more challenging for you?
T2.
Interesting.
Positioning coming in off the bike with a pack is harder for me to be at the front. And then, well, shoe transitions, man, sometimes go poorly.
Uh, yeah. Pool swim or open water?
open water, though I am someone whose mind runs if it's like ocean open water.
Like about the things that are.
Yeah.
No need to talk about that any further.
Yeah, they don't exist.
Yeah. Okay. And I asked this question. I don't know if you are ever on your bike long enough to do this. So I'm going to ask you and then ask the follow-up question that I ask people who do shorter races. Do you pee on the bike or do you get off and take a proper pee break?
No, I do not pee on the bike. I never have. And I'm very particular if I'm getting off the bike. I have this fear of getting in trouble about just peeing on the side of the road.
Yes, I should put my head in. I had to pee on the side of the road this past weekend. And my friend told my other friend, I'm gonna just call her out. Janice told Layla that I did it. And I was like, look, I had to pee and it's country road. And so, well, actually, this was probably me the second time. So I actually peed in an open road because I had to pee. And they were like, the bathroom was right there. So like I couldn't make it. And you do what you have to do.
I would have fully supported you, but you would have seen me like ride up the road just to be unaffiliated if you got in trouble. That's like how I am with one of my friends will always do it. And I'm like, okay, you can do it, but like I'm gonna be over here waiting for you.
Well, with that said, I mean, sometimes, especially during training rides and you're training in very remote areas, you just gotta do what you gotta do. But
yes.
This is my follow-up question for those who don't do the bike. Do you pee in your wetsuit?
Yeah, all the time.
Oh, there it is. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We are back. I am so glad to be with y'all. We have the saying on Try Beginner's Luck, whenever you try, you always win. And we heard it here today. You guys heard just trying. I think that's the name of that's going to be the name of this. No risk in trying. There is no risk when you try because you will always win. Thank you so much. Be sure to follow us. This is on YouTube as well as on all the major platforms. And yeah, we're back. So give me some grades as we get back going again. And just look for some really great guests as we move forward into the season. With that said, I am Mashonda Miles, also known as Mashonda Shines, and we are out. Peace. Bye, everybody. Thank you for tuning in and listening to this episode. We need your help so we can continue to try at TBL. So for more information on where you can find and subscribe to this podcast, visit www.trybeginnersluck.com. And don't forget, whenever you try Beginner's Luck, you always win.